Okay, so this is going to be the exterior video. I'm only doing the exterior because it's not a vacant home. Just for protection for, possessions for the sellers and people who live here, and plus they're here. So, I had permission to do the video. So, first and foremost, obviously this is a fire rebuild. I'll try to keep my camera on the house. So obviously after the Valley Fire, and this is insurance rebuild, we'll go through a lot of things in the home and the exterior portion. I did go all the way up to the top of the roof. There's probably 30 photos. I just won't bring my tablet up there in case it falls, then I'm totally screwed. So, so you have what is called a open galvanized valley, which is, let's see if you can see it from here. You probably won't be able to see it from here, but we're down here at this point, right here. It's a galvanized valley, which I think is the best way to flash your valleys. It's just easier for water to run off. You don't get much grit, less chances of leaking through your valley points on your roof sheathing. And I personally do a California weave, which is a closed valley. But this, for me, is the best way to do a valley. So a lot of times, for me, it's cheaper to do. Or if your roofer does it depends on what your roofer really does too. A lot of roofers, people who do their own roofing will do a galvanized, like a general contractor will do his own galvanized valley. Because it's probably a lot quicker than doing a weave, but most roofers will not do a galvanized open valley. So that's pretty cool to see. Obviously you have, we'll keep walking around here. So with the new fire code restrictions, you don't see eave blocks anymore, as they don't meet the fire code WUI standards. A lot of times you'll see either the Vulcan vents, which there's no Vulcan vents here, which would be those straight metal vents, but instead they have more roof vents they put up. That's obviously not going to show it, but over here I'll show you. So you are obviously, this roof is a 40-year roof. I can just tell by the dimensional design as well. So yeah, it's a brand new roof. They also put flashing above the trim boards on top of the windows, which is nice to see, so water doesn't get behind there, especially for the lap siding. This is a hardy lap siding, which they say is fire resistant, which is not true. People like to say, they like to brag about that, and they don't realize that hardy, the wood behind it heats up and catches on fire, the frame of the house. So it's not like it's it might protect you from a little burn right here on the ground, but it ain't gonna stop you from a valley fire. So I want to show you some things too about what home inspectors would point out that when they'll be wrong about. Here, see how there's a gap right there? There's supposed to be a gap between these laps, like right here. I'll show you this. Yes, that's correct. They will say a lot of times that they're not butting. Actually, that's for expansion and contraction, and if you do butt them, they'll actually buckle in the sun. So actually that's done correctly. This is a really well built house actually, and I am about as picky as I could possibly be when it comes to inspecting brand new homes or any home. I hit a brand new house that didn't meet Title 24s 2 weeks ago, and the county is really freaked out about it. So anyways, what is really weird is that he didn't do a UFO ground in this house, which is your grounding rod. You're grounding through your foundation. Instead they did a grounding rod, which is very old school. I don't really get it. Usually you're supposed to run, I think it's 16 foot, number 4, UFO ground through the foundation. I think it's 16 feet. I have to double check. 16 or 20. I believe it's 16. But anyways, that's nothing. I mean, it's perfectly fine. They've been doing grounding like that for 100 years. So it's just very interesting to see that. I did open the panel box up. And everything's copper, of course. Everything's labeled good. So these are the normal things you get with a new home. I do like they caulked a lot of these seams between the hardy lap, or where they butt. A lot of people just leave it open. Here's your instantaneous hot water heater. You might want to change this into a knob, actually, so it's easier to get into. These are actually required now. You cannot have your normal hot water heater anymore for new construction, so they all have to be instantaneous. So it's kind of one of the great things about that's part of your Title 24. That's actually one of the great things about new construction. Let's go in here. Okay, so that door needs to be self-closing. It could be tightened up, or actually I'll double check, make sure there even is one on there. A lot of expansion joints in the concrete slab, which is nice. Less chance of actually cracking. The whole house is on a concrete slab. Very interesting having a toilet there. I guess it's actually kind of nice if you have people here who are doing work on your property. So that's actually kind of a plus. We'll keep going around this way. This is your shutoff valve right here, water shutoff valve. Overall, everything is built really well. A lot of this too right here. Looks like they just missed some caulking. So the whole point is that I see it all the time where they'll butt these, and then they just buckle, and it just sucks. That's not how you're supposed to do it. So they did a really good job. Actually, the builder did a great job in this house. You got 6x6s here. Looks like they're steel. Is that steel? Let me check. I doubt they're steel. No, they're wood. God, what am I talking about? So you got hardcore, really heavy duty Simpson ties going through the slab right there. Here we go and point something out, which you don't really see very often. A lot of times you'll see, and this is kind of important for me, and I seen it on the fascia, but most people don't recognize this stuff. See how it's blocked right here? Like you got the 2x4 going block, and you got the rafter tail that's cut right there, and you got that tied up right there. That is to keep this from bowing out this corner, especially when you get water going down the valley. A lot of that will just pop out, so it's actually good to see that. A lot of builders don't think about that kind of stuff. For me, whenever I built homes, I've always done wrapped around fascia. So where you really have a fascia board all the way around, and then you put the gutters on. Well, this is actually at least this is here. I mean, wrapped around fascia is not required, obviously. But it's important to note that when you have, especially on gable end fascias, where they touch the other, I'm trying to see if I know there's a gable end one where he did the same thing here too. There might be on the second floor, but I'll show you that in the video or in the photo section. Okay, so let's get back over here. Again, this is new construction, so you're one of the most important things to note is also the contractor has liability of 10 years in this house structurally. So if you have anything ever wrong structurally in this house, the contractor's up to 10 years liability. Plumbing, I think, is 4, I believe. And but the most important stuff is that you have a good relationship with the contractor that built the house. Not a whole lot to show here. I do like the fact that, yes, he was 1 inch off the ground. This is not pressure treated, but it is 1 inch off concrete face, so it's actually meets the residential building code requirements. Okay. Looks like they kind of did some mortar mortar patching around it too, on the bottom of these ones. Because it is sitting on a platform that keeps it 1 inch off the concrete. Oh, it's sitting on something steel. So it's one of those things where they require to be 1 inch off the ground. But geez, this is also a 6x6. It's not pressure treated, but even if 30, 40 years from now, that if it did rot. It's only going to be rotting the outside 1 inch area, or not even 1 inch, geez, outside ½ inch on each side. So that's a big deal when it's a 4x, but when it's a 6x, it's nothing. So, and there's nothing you do about it. So honestly, then plus the reality is they could have copper greened the bottom too, and it would have been fine. So sometimes you just don't know. Either way, this is definitely built well. And I'm gonna go check over here on the units, and then I'll start working on the inside, and that'll be it. So I'll be uploading this right now. All right, thank you.